Do you feel like you're stuck or find yourself attracting the same type of relationships and negative experiences, or just not manifesting what you want in life? Welcome to Heal Your Story. I'm your host, Heidi Dallaire. Here we discuss all things life, love, relationships, the relationship with yourself, and the stories we tell about ourselves and others. I help people get out of their busy heads and get back in touch with their heart space to learn self-love and help heal their story. I'm a heart space and relational coach, a holistic health practitioner, and author at HeidiDallaire.com and LoveWideOpen.com. Let's go hold some heart space together.
This episode is brought to you by the Weather Channel app. Did you know the app can help you forecast more than just the weather? With allergy tracking and flu risk mapping, so you know when to stay inside and load up on podcast, as well as air quality and UV indexing, so you know when to get outside, load up on sunscreen, and podcast. Forecast more of what you love with the Weather Channel app.
Negative self-talk. Boy, how does negative self-talk limit our growth and our expansion? You know that saying, you've heard it before. We are what we think we are. Thoughts become things. Well, it's absolutely true. How we speak about ourselves, both to another person and to ourselves, so our negative self-talk externally to somebody else, and also our negative internal conversations we're having with ourselves, totally shape who we think we are. And oftentimes that just comes down to a self-worth issue. But wow, when we really, really listen to ourselves, how negatively are we speaking about ourselves? And in the same respect, there are often times when people can take these feelings that they have about themselves on the inside and also use those same words as darts at another person. I came about this knowledge through some great counseling a few years back and the use of cognitive behavioral therapy, which really, as I get into this, really touched upon a ton of these negative self-limiting beliefs. And then also, I learned a ton about it through personal training for becoming a life coach. How we speak about ourselves absolutely shapes who we are. And it puts this thought out to the universe. Then the universe responds back with, "You're absolutely right," because we are what we think we are. So there are some words or phrases that we should absolutely try to take out of our dialogue, out of this self-limiting dialogue. And 3 that come to mind right off the bat are could, should, and would. I could have done that. I should have done that. I would do that, but... Well, if you should have, that means you could have, and you probably already would have, right? So if you feel like you should be doing something, then you probably already would be doing it if you weren't in that negative thought of, well, I should, instead of just do. We get stuck in these almost excuses for ourselves. When something comes up and we're just like, oh, yeah, well, I would have said this in a different scenario, or I should have done that, or I could have done this better. When in actuality, the reality is, no, what happened happened. It is what it is. 3 more things and phrases that just come right up are first the word must, the phrase have to, and the phrase need to. First of all, need to is a lack word. When we put the word need out into the universe, it's this feeling of lack instead of gratitude and abundance. We never have to do anything. It should be a want, a desire, a will to do instead. And then there's must. I must accomplish this. That may be coming from a perfectionist type of thought pattern. All right, 2 more words that are very self-limiting and negative thinking are the words never and always. You often listen to somebody, right? And they say, well, I never do that. And what is our immediate response? Of course you have. Everyone has, because nobody lives in a perfect world. Or, I always do the right thing. Well, or I always do that. Well, I'm not so sure about that. And when we put these words into our vocabulary, it's setting us up for perfectionism and also setting somebody else up to have to be perfect. We don't know how things actually will be. The only thing we can really do is be present in the moment, right? And so removing never and always just really takes pressure off of us and allows us just to be much more in the moment and happy and present. And then the last 2 words that I can kind of think of that are really self-limiting are the words can't and but. When we put ourselves in line with the word can't, what does that do for us? And if we really think we can't do something, well, then we absolutely can't. That will become true. And the word but, that's a tricky word. Because when we use the word but, it completely discredits the thing we say before it. I love this thing, but, which means then you don't actually really truly love this thing. So just some thoughts about negative self-belief. What do they bring up, right? How does it happen? We inflict so much pain upon ourselves with our own negative self-talk. It's amazing how much suffering our own internal words and our own minds can cause us. And in a minute, I'll get to some tools to help us be way more aware of these negative self-talk things. So here are a couple more phrases that really put us in the world of lack and put a stop right in front of us and don't allow us to grow and succeed and thrive. They are things like, there's no use. I'm not worth it. I'll never follow through on that. People won't like me. I'm not enough. Others are better at that than I am. I have to be perfect. It'll never be any different. I'll never be any different. My opinion doesn't matter. Have you ever said any of these things to yourself? Have you ever heard other people say these things about themselves? Where are you in life by saying these things, or where is that person in life by saying these things? So what do you do about your own negative self-talk dialogue? You have to become aware that it's even happening. You totally have to snag yourself. You have to catch yourself when you do it. Because we just run like on autopilot all of the time. Our minds are completely running our day most of the time. And if we can slow down enough to be aware that we have just said something negative about ourselves, it allows us to kind of catch back and look at it. Be like, oh, wow, I just said this thing about myself. I just thought this thought. And by recognizing it as a thought, you can then start to unwind it and realize that it's not your reality, that it's not something you are making yourself be, that there's no actual truth to that thought. So when we get stuck in that negative mind trap of self-limiting beliefs and words and phrases that we use that put stops to our growth, what are we going to do? And if you're in this mindset, how can you get out of it? That first step is catching yourself. positive self-talk and how we can use positive self-talk and positive affirmations at the very beginning of a day and throughout a day to make them a practice. Just like it took practice in years for you to get into this negative self-talk that you may be in. It takes practice to then go the positive way. And how we really truly are the things we think. And when we're thinking in a positive manner, it helps us move forward in life and live more in the present. If you would like to reach out and speak to me, you can also reach me through HeidiDelaire.com or LoveWideOpen.com through the contact form. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, have a great day. Thank you for listening to another episode of Heal Your Story. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find me, my coaching services, my book, or book a Heal Your Story strategy session at HeidiDelaire.com. For other self-development articles, go to LoveWideOpen.com. And you can also follow me at Heidi Delaire or Love Wide Open on all social media channels. Thanks so much. Sending lots of love.